Hello and a very warm welcome. You're watching the Question Hour show from the Parliament House complex, the show where we bring all the important unstarred questions asked by the members of the upper house and the response given by the government in written format. I'm KRITI MISHRA and joining me is my colleague Rajat.
Thanks, Kriti, and thanks to your viewers for watching Question Hour. Well, Question Hour is essential tool of parliamentary democracy where members gets an opportunity to question the government, and government also gets an opportunity to give elaborate or concise answers to the queries.
Well, there are different types of questions, the starred ones, the unstarred ones, and also the short notice ones. Starred questions are those questions of which response is given orally on the floor of the House, and the members can also seek supplementaries from the concerned minister. Whereas the unstarred questions are those questions of which replies are given by the government in written format as well. And our show focuses on all the important unstarred questions asked by the members of the upper house and of course during the ongoing budget session.
Right, and how these questions are answered, here is a small presentation. A member submits his or her questions at least 15 days before the office of Rajya Sabha chairman. The Rajya Sabha Secretariat chooses the questions to be answered through a draw of ballots. Separate ballots are held for starred and unstarred questions. The questions are scrutinized for admissibility under the current rules and precedents. Questions are disallowed if they are not in order. Advance copies of chosen questions are sent to ministry or departments concerned. The ministry concerns collect information to prepare the reply. The minister concerned reply to starred questions on the floor of the House and provides written answers to unstarred questions. Up to 160 unstarred questions are listed every day in a separate list. Well, there you saw how these questions are answered. So, Kriti, it's time to begin our show. Well, the first question of this edition of the show that was asked by Dr. BHAGWAT from Ministry of Education. The member saw details about KVs, that is Kendriya Vidyalayas, and the opening of new Kendriya Vidyalayas across the country and also in the state of Maharashtra.
Well, opening of Kendriya Vidyalayas is a continuous process and there's a detailed response given by the Education Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank. In the response, the minister says that KVs are open primarily to cater to the educational needs of the wards of transferable central government employees, including defence and paramilitary personnel, central autonomous bodies, central public sector undertakings and Central Institute of Higher Learning by providing a common program of education. Proposals for opening up of new KVs are considered only if sponsored by ministries or departments of Government of India, state governments, UT administrations and committing resources for setting up a new KV. The proposals received from various sponsoring authorities for opening up of new KVs have to compete with other proposals under the challenge method. A proposal for opening up of new KV at Akola district, Akola, has been received by the KVs from the state government of Maharashtra and found fulfilling mandatory prerequisites. As per the norms of KVs, the proposal has to compete with other proposals under the challenge method. Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan has informed that at present there are 261 districts in the country which have more than 1 KV. Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan has informed that 1 KV Aurangabad Cant is already functioning in Aurangabad district of Maharashtra, and no proposal in the prescribed proforma has been received for opening up of another KV in Aurangabad district of Maharashtra. And joining us on the Question Hour show is Rajya Sabha MP Dr. BHAGWAT. Sir, welcome to Sunset TV and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Sir, during the ongoing Parliament session, you've asked a very pertinent question about opening up of new KVs, while the government has given a detailed response about the challenge method and also talks about the proposals that are to be given by the state governments or UTs. What is your take on government's response?
केंद्रीय विद्यालय जनता के लिए बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ है। मैं राज्यसभा सदस्य बनने के बाद कम से कम हर साल 100-125 एप्लीकेशन मेरे पास आते हैं और खुद के बच्चों के लिए लोग प्रयास करते हैं कि बच्चों को एडमिशन फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड हो, फोर्थ स्टैंडर्ड हो या सेवन्थ स्टैंडर्ड में कैसा मिले, और हमें परेशानी होती है कि ये बच्चों को कौन से बच्चे को सिलेक्ट करना और कौन से बच्चों को केंद्रीय विद्यालय में एडमिशन देना। मैं संभाजीनगर महाराष्ट्र से आता हूँ। वहाँ एक केंद्रीय विद्यालय है जिसमें से 80% बच्चों का एडमिशन जो सैनिकों के बच्चे हैं उनको मिलता है। तो मैंने मांग किया है कि नया एक केंद्रीय विद्यालय होना चाहिए जिसका CBSE पैटर्न होना चाहिए, और इसमें देहात के बच्चे, पर्टिकुलरली फार्मर के बच्चे जिनके घर में कोई पढ़े वाला नहीं है, उनको भी अच्छा क्वालिटी का एजुकेशन मिलना चाहिए। इसलिए मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ।
So the government also says that there are specific districts that have more than 2 KVs. You've also requested for Aurangabad. What is the demand?
ये नेटवर्क बढ़ाने के लिए और सरकार की तरफ से मैं सरकार के एजुकेशन मिनिस्टर राज्य मंत्री माननीय संजय धोत्रे साहब को मिला। मेरी पूरी शहर की और मराठवाड़े में केंद्रीय विद्यालय की ज़रूरत है ऐसी मांग की, तो उन्होंने मेरे पास एक लेटर भेजा है। उसमें भेजा है कि हम लोग नया केंद्रीय विद्यालय का प्रस्ताव को मंजूरी देने का कोशिश करेंगे। इसीलिए जो लगता है, जगह लगती है, कुछ कमरे लगते हैं और सरकार की ग्रांट भी लगती है, तो सरकार का काम करेगा, लेकिन मैं मेरे एरिया में और एक नया केंद्रीय विद्यालय खोलने के लिए कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। हमारे कलेक्टर और एजुकेशन ऑफिसर, इनके साथ मेरी मीटिंग भी हो चुकी है और उन्होंने प्रस्ताव किया है। जैसा ये प्रस्ताव बनेगा वो हम प्रस्ताव स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को भेजेंगे और स्टेट एजुकेशन सेक्रेटरी या स्टेट मिनिस्टर की तरफ से वो सेंटर को आएगा और सेंटर की तरफ से नया केंद्रीय विद्यालय खोलने का कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। मुझे मालूम है, मैं 2000 साल में मेयर था, तो हमारे पास हमारे गोविंद भाई श्रॉफ जो नेता थे उनसे मैं मिला, तो उस टाइम मैं पूछा था, ये महापौर मैं बना हूँ, नया हूँ, ये उस टाइम में क्या करना चाहिए। वो बोले ये इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तो प्रोजेक्ट तो होते रहेंगे, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तो होते रहेगा, लेकिन बच्चों का एजुकेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। बच्चों को अच्छा एजुकेशन कैसा मिले, इसी में काम करना बहुत ज़रूरी है। समझो एक आधा काम नहीं किया तो 1 साल, 2 साल, 5 साल, 10 साल को तकलीफ लोग उठाएंगे, लेकिन बच्चों का एजुकेशन नहीं दिया तो पूरी उनका साल या आयु खराब हो जाएंगी, ये पीढ़ी बर्बाद हो जाएंगी। इसलिए हमेशा मैं बच्चों के एजुकेशन की तरफ ख्याल रखता हूँ और बच्चों का एजुकेशन ऐसा कैसा अच्छा करे, इसलिए मैं कोशिश करता हूँ। मैं खुद एक किसान का लड़का था, मैं एक डॉक्टर बना और डॉक्टर मैंने एजुकेशन लिया, इसलिए मैं राज्यसभा सदस्य बन गया, राजनीति में आ गया, डॉक्टर बना, मेरा खुद का हॉस्पिटल है। तो एजुकेशन इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट। तो मैं राज्यसभा में आने के बाद मैं ये डिसीजन लिया है, हो सके उतना एजुकेशन क्षेत्र में काम करना। ये प्राइमरी स्कूल हो या सेकेंडरी स्कूल हो या कोई कॉलेज हो या कोई टेक्निकल कॉलेज हो या प्रोफेशनल कॉलेज हो, इसमें हर जगह स्टूडेंट को कैसा मदद करना, इसलिए मैं मेरा काम करता हूँ।
Lastly, sir, any specific suggestion that you'd like to make?
ये तो माननीय पंतप्रधान नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में चल रही सरकार है और शिक्षा में हर क्षेत्र में, पर्टिकुलरली शिक्षा में उन्होंने नया शैक्षणिक धोरण लाया है जिसमें बच्चों को बहुत फायदा होना है। नया शिक्षित भारत बनाने के माननीय मोदी साहब के नेतृत्व में काम चालू है और इसमें नए कॉलेज, नए टेक्नोलॉजी, मुझे आके 1 साल राज्यसभा में हुए हैं, नए विद्यापीठ खोल रहे हैं, नए कॉलेजेस खोल रहे हैं। अभी आज ही बिल राज्यसभा में जो आने वाला है, फूड प्रोसेसिंग का जो फूड इंस्टीट्यूट का बिल आने वाला है, उसमें भी हम लोग चर्चा करेंगे। बीच में फायर इंस्टीट्यूट के ऊपर भी बिल आ गया था, बीच में रेलवे इंस्टीट्यूट के ऊपर भी बिल आया था। अलग अलग बिल आके नया टेक्निक से इसमें एजुकेशन कैसा बढ़ते रहे, इसके ऊपर कोशिश चालू है और मुझे पूरी उम्मीद है माननीय मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में एक नया भारत या नया शिक्षित भारत बनेगा और इसमें हर युवक शिक्षित रहेगा और हर युवक को अच्छा काम रहेगा।
All right, on that note, thank you so much for talking to us. Now let's move on to the next question, and this one has been asked by member Sujit Kumar, and this question is to the Ministry of Steel. And the member has inquired about the steps taken by the government to improve the safety standards in steel PSUs in the country.
Well, the reply to this query is given by Minister of Steel Dharmendra Pradhan. The ministry says that it has formulated a set of 25 safety guidelines in 2019-20 for strengthening the safety ecosystem in iron and steel sector in the country. These have been evolved after extensive interaction with stakeholders and enable identifying of potential hazards in iron and steel making industries, and measures that need to be adopted to minimize accidents in order to ensure a safe working environment for the workforce. In order to improve the safety standards of various steel manufacturing PSUs, Occupational Health and Safety Assessment Series and International Organization of Standardization Safety Standards have been adopted. As part of the Occupational Health and Safety Assessment Series, standard work procedures, which include standard operating procedures and standard maintenance procedures, have been prepared and implemented in various departments of steel plant for ensuring a safe working environment and overall standards of safety. Some of the specific steps taken to improve the safety standard at Rourkela steel plant and other plants and units of SAIL is also given in the reply. Permit to work system reviewed and filled up in addition to safety protocol before starting work in gas line job. Healthiness of gas lines checked at coal chemical departments, Rourkela plant and remedies. Remedial actions taken on priority basis. Frequency of gas safety and training equipment with hands-on training on gas safety. Equipment for regular employees increased from once in a week to twice per week in Rourkela plant. Additional safety signages displayed in local languages. All plants and units have been advised to strictly follow SG 21, that is Safety Guidelines for Handling Fuel Gas Permit to Work System, BIS standard and scaffolding, and also standard operating procedures. Awareness training in these areas enhanced by organizing refresher training, and lastly, program for regular employees and contractual workers. Well, moving on to next question that was asked by members Harnath Singh Yadav and Vijaypal Singh Tomar from Ministry of Labour and Employment. The member asked about the details of steps taken by the government so as to improve the conditions of labourers across the country in last 1 week, and especially in terms of conditions due to COVID-19 lockdown.
Well, the government has taken several steps to improve the condition of labourers in the country, and there's a detailed response, a comprehensive response given by Labour and Employment Minister Santosh Kumar Gangwar to this query. He says that to improve the condition of labourers in the country through providing social security, incentivizing employees for creation of new employment, encouraging rural citizens to empower returnee migrant and providing livelihood opportunities during the last 1 year to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown, the government is taking all these steps to mitigate the financial crisis of the labourers and to protect them against the economic disruptions due to the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. The Government of India has provided financial assistance, food packages, ration and other benefits through relief package of 1.70 lakh crore under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana in March 2020. In order to boost employment and livelihood opportunities for labourers, Government of India launched Garib Kalyan Rozgar Abhiyan on 20th of June 2020. The Abhiyan focused on durable rural infrastructure and providing modern facilities like internet in the villages. Skill mapping of the rural labour was also done to enhance their employability on the basis of their skills to enable them to work closer to their homes. The Abhiyan involves intensified and focused implementation of 25 target-driven works to provide employment and create infrastructure in the rural areas of 116 districts of 6 states with a resource envelope of 50,000 crore rupees. The Abhiyan has generated 50 crore 78 lakh 68,671 man days. Approximately 80 crore beneficiaries have been provided additional 5 kg wheat or rice and 1 kg of preferred pulses free of cost every month till November 2020 under provisions of National Food Security Act. In response to Government of India's directions, the State Building and other construction workers' welfare boards have cumulatively distributed around 5,000 crore to approximately 1.83 crore building and other construction workers during lockdown and thereafter. In addition to this, around 30 lakh BOC workers were also provided food relief packages. For the benefit of 50 lakh street vendors, Government of India has also launched Swanidhi scheme on 1st of June 2020 to provide them collateral-free working capital loan up to 10,000 rupees to resume their livelihood, which was lost due to COVID-19 and lockdown. In rural areas, wages under Manrega have been enhanced from 182 to 202 per day for the benefit of rural workers, including returning migrant workers. Ministry of Labour and Employment has also taken a decision to extend the scheme of Atal Bimit Kalyan Yojana for another 1 year, that is from 1st of July 2020 to 30th of June 2020. It has also been decided to enhance the rate of unemployment relief under the scheme to 50% of wages from earlier rate of 25%, along with relaxation of eligibility conditions for insured workers who have lost their employment due to COVID-19 pandemic and the related lockdown. So that was an exhaustive reply given by Government of India on the steps taken to mitigate the sufferings of the returnee migrant workers after the COVID-19 pandemic-induced lockdown. And now let's move on to the next question, and this one has been asked by member KP Munnuswamy, and this question is to the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, and the member has questioned the government on pricing of petroleum products.
Well, the reply to this query was given by Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas Dharmendra Pradhan. The ministry says prices of petrol and diesel have been made market determined with effect from 26th of June 2010 and 19th of October 2014 respectively. Since then, public sector oil marketing companies has taken appropriate decisions on pricing on petrol and diesel in line with international product prices and other market conditions. The government modulates the effective cost of consumer for subsidized domestic LPG. The prices of petroleum products are linked to price of respective products in international market. Oil marketing companies take decision on retail selling of price after considering various aspects including international product prices, exchange rates, tax structures, inland freight and other cost elements. Public sector oil marketing companies have implemented daily revision of retail selling price of petrol and diesel in entire country with effect from 16th of June 2017. Daily pricing has been introduced to bring more transparency and efficiency in pricing to benefit the consumers. Well, moving on to next question that was asked by member KG Alphonse from Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. The member asked about the role of town and country planning organization in the country.
So this response has been given by Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. He says that Town and Country Planning Organization is a subordinate office under Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and the major role functions of TCPO are rendering technical assistance to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs and other central ministries and Niti Aayog in urban planning and development policies and strategies, technical advice and assistance to town and country planning departments of states and UTs, preparation of manuals and guidelines on various aspects of urban planning and development. Offices of TCPO are represented in the Board of Directors of Smart Cities of Ahmedabad and Jabalpur. TCPO keeps up with the global best practices. Being the technical arm of Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, TCPO has been involved in two important publications, namely Urban and Regional Development Plan Formulation and Implementation Guidelines 2014 and Model Building Bylaws 2016. TCPO has also assisted in amendment of Unified Building Bylaws of Delhi, amended in 2016. These documents demonstrate best practices and act as valuable guidance material to states and UTs, which in turn formulate master plans and development control regulations. Considering the emerging issues in urban planning and development, Ministry has also issued following documents with assistance of TCPO. Now these include advisory to states and UTs on transferable development rights policy, design standards for drone or UAV technology for formulation of GIS-based master plans for small and medium towns, amendment to MBBL and URDPFI guidelines to incorporate provisions for electric vehicle charging infrastructure, and guideline on pilot on formulation of local area plan and town planning scheme. And let's move on to the last question of this edition of the Question Hour show, and this one has been asked by member P. Bhattacharya, and this question is to the Ministry of Home Affairs. And the member has questioned the government on fund allocation for modernization of state police forces.
Well, the reply to this query was given by Minister of State Home Affairs G. Kishan Reddy. The ministry says the criteria determined for interstate distribution of funds by this government in the year 2005 include population 35% weightage, sanctioned strength of police force 25% of weightage, number of police stations 15% of weightage, and the incidence of crime per lakh population 25% weightage. Modernization of police force is continuous and ongoing process. Police and public order are state subjects as per the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India. To supplement the efforts of the states for equipping and modernizing the police forces under the scheme of assistance to states for modernizing of police, erstwhile scheme of modernization of police forces, The states have been provided central assistance for acquisition of latest weaponry, training gadgets, advanced communication, police buildings, police housing, mobility and forensic equipments. As per the proposal of state governments in accordance with their strategic priorities and requirements, funds for mobility and construction of police infrastructure, including housing, are permitted in case of insurgency affected northeastern states and left-wing extremism affected districts. The scheme is being a centrally sponsored scheme. Funding ratio is 90 to 10%, that is central to state contribution. In case of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and 8 northeastern states, including Sikkim, and the funding ratio is 60:40, that is center and the state proportion in the case of remaining states. So far as the implementation is concerned, the progress is regularly reviewed. The progress of implementation is also followed up through fora like meetings of zonal council and interstate council. Further implementation is also monitored through meeting and video conferences with officers of state governments and state police forces. The implementation is also reviewed by high-powered committees which approves proposals of the state governments. To curb the corruption and irregularities, the Office of Comptroller and Auditor General regularly audits expenditure under scheme at the end of police directorates. In addition, Ministry of Home Affairs conducts concurrent audit of schemes, and release of funds has been linked with submission of action taken report on the observations of concurrent audit report by state governments. Well, that's it in this edition of Questionnaire. You can catch all our programs on the online platform of YouTube and Twitter.
Stay safe, stay healthy, take care, goodbye.